Hey everybody, hope you're all doing well. The purpose of this video is to walk you through your final project. I just wanted to say that I hope you're all doing well and hanging in there with everything going on. I know times have been tough for lots of people for many different reasons. Our class, actually, this class is not immune to that. We've lost things. We've lost that powerful moment, that culminating experience, what this final project was supposed to be, which was our field trip to Ping Center, where we were so excited to welcome our Beacon buddies, those awesome people who we were building rapport with over the course of the semester. But I'm going to try to not be frustrated. I'm going to see the positive in this right now, and that's that we're all well and safe, and I hope you are the same. So, our final project, I don't want to lose sight of what we were working towards. I've been in communication with Beacon School and with the principal, the superintendent, in an effort to not let this effort die. Do we get to have a final field trip? No, but this final project will at least check the boxes of what we were going for, which is one, to provide you with an advocacy based professional outreach project, and two, for us to have experiential learning. And this video will walk you through what we're going to do next. So everything you need from here on out will be found in this final module page, and this is going to take us to the end of the semester. Um, Throughout the course of this final project, I provide a step-by-step instructional walkthrough of what you need to do. So aside from this video, everything should be here in writing. So number one, watch the final project video. All right, you did that. Just make sure you watch the whole thing and you could check that off your list. Number two, here are the project directions. I'm going to take you through each one of these directions so you have a good understanding of what we need to do. And then I think you'll see 3 and 4, since this project is all based around your Beacon Buddy, I think you should circle back to your Beacon Buddy profile and just remind yourself of who your buddy is, the things that they're excited about, their strengths, their areas of that they need to have growth physically, educationally, and just remind yourself of those details because you wrote some really great things before and we don't want to lose sight of that. And then here you go, number 4, disability planning resources. So you're going to find those right here. And basically that will be information about specific disabilities. I'll come back to that in a second. So project directions. What's he going to make us do for a final project? So I'm really excited about this one. I'm going to be glass half full and I'm going to say that this is going to be a very positive assignment for us all. You're going to make a physical activity board game. It's not hypothetical, it is quite literal. It is a board game that will be mailed, delivered to the house of your Beacon buddy. And just like any board game we might have at our house, right? Monopoly, Jenga, all those board games, card games, you're going to make it, you're going to design it, and the only component that you need to make sure you have is that physical activity component. And we'll take this step by step. So I'm excited, I'm pumped, and I know your buddies will just be floored when they get their package in the mail and they're able to have a fun physical activity board game that you created for them. Okay, so let's take this step by step. So there's really two main parts to this assignment. One is the learning aspect for you, which is the research and the application. One, for you to get really smart about a specific disability and make sure that you're meeting your buddy's needs. And then two, the advocacy part, and that's that whole delivering the board game to your buddy, which we'll come back to that in a minute. So what do you need to do first? So the first thing you need to do is disability research on the disability of your buddy. And that's where we go back to that tab that I mentioned. So, oh my gosh, like there's so much information here. Well, don't worry, that's not all for just you. So let's say hypothetically that my buddy had a disability of autism. Well, there is a PDF here for autism that I'm going to read, and then there is a chapter presentation for autism that I'm also going to read. Those resources are going to help me plan best to create a project for my buddy. So after you read your resources specific to your disability, you're going to write a 1 to 1.5 page synopsis of the disability. So I'll talk about the definition of autism, some of the causes or characteristics, what modifications might someone have for physical activity if they were to have autism. Are there any contraindicated activities, so things that they maybe should not do for their safety? And then, like, what are best practices for inclusion in physical activity? And that's really important when you do your resources. If there are best practices, so let's take visuals for example for autism. If that's a best practice, I should see, strong visuals in your physical activity board game. So are you being consistent with the research, and are you going to be consistent with the best practice is really important. So after you write your synopsis, you're going to feel strong and comfortable, and now I want you to apply it to your buddy. So think, if you're going to create a board game, what resources might you need to accomplish this? If there are task cards, if there's an actual board, those kinds of things. For the activity part, you can't necessarily say you have to have a basketball hoop, because what if your buddy doesn't have that at their home? So I want you to think and brainstorm ideas of what kind of things might your buddy find success and challenge at, and just kind of get those ideas going. And write about why. Why did you decide to do those specific things for your buddy? And then support it with that research that you've already read. So that's just about a half of a page. It's applying the research to what you know about your buddy. All right, here comes that really fun and creative part. So now is when you get to design your board game. And this is going to look differently depending on what we create. This is not apples to apples with you and all your peers. So I said before, this is literally going to your buddy's doorstep. So if you're able to create this awesome game that challenges and has a good level of success with your buddy virtually, and that's something that you can submit in Blackboard, you don't need to mail anything to me physically at all. Okay, so if you're able to make this wonderful template and it's on a PDF, and you're able to send in Word all of the little cards that would be in the game and all of that, then everything you do your submission will take place through Blackboard itself. However, if you're saying, well, I'm not really tech savvy and I don't really feel like creating this graphic and all these things, I'm more hands-on, what do you have at your house? Okay, you can turn a board game that you currently have right now and make it specified to your buddy. So let's say hypothetically I want to turn this into fitness Jenga. I do all the great work here at my house. Well, I can't submit this hard thing to Blackboard. So what I'm going to do is I'll take pictures of it, I'll submit that on Blackboard, and then I'm mailing this to Dr. Ryder, and I'm going to send it with everybody else's resources to Beacon School itself. So I hope that makes sense. Again, if you have things at your house that you want to incorporate into your game that your buddy may not have at their home, you may use what you have, but you have to get it to me. So I hope you find that to be flexible. You can take either avenue of what you want to do. All right, and then the very last part. So when this shows up on your buddy's doorstep, how are they going to know what to do? Well, that's the last thing, and that's a greetings letter. This is not academic in nature. This is a friendly, welcoming note. How have you been? I'm really sorry you couldn't come to Ping. I've been being physically active through all these things. What have you been doing? Oh, by the way, I made you this really fun board game, and here's how it works. It's called Fitness Jenga. So, with your brothers and sisters and moms and dads, here's how you play. So, that really, kid friendly or student friendly, sell of your product and how your board game is going to work. And that will be included when I send off your materials. And that's your project. Okay, so the last thing I wanted to share with you is a few examples, right? So some of us are visual learners. What exactly does a board game entail? What am I asking you to do? So in this board game examples, and again, it doesn't have to be a literal board. Jenga is a quote unquote board game. Think things like Monopoly. Well, fitness Monopoly. What kind of fitness activities, body weight exercises could your buddy do? There you go. There's my Jenga one, right? I've done this with kids for a long time. Every time you pull out the piece of wood, the person who pulls it does a physical activity. Again, make sure that these are things that your specific buddy can do. Bingo, activity bingo. You could be creative and actually make something tangible. Turn a fidget spinner into a board game. Um, you all have buddies who have very unique interests. I know some of them specifically love space, love Taylor Swift, love all these, very unique things. Go the theme route. Make a really cool board game that, connects with what they love, and it's going to give them a better reason to actually do it. If you've got a buddy that they're dedicated to a specific sport, you could take that sport specific route too. Just be sure, what if they don't have a ball at their home? What if they don't have a hoop? So that's a huge red flag. Be very careful with that one. You want to make sure that they could do it. And then if you know of a board game, like I said, if you have cards that you want to send, that's fine. You might even take the approach, I know I want to do Uno. You get onto Amazon, you start sending that to me right away, and then it'll come as a packaged unit. So there's a lot of different ways you could do it. You don't have to do all these. Get on Pinterest and get inspired with all those other things that are out there, but you have to create this. It has to come from the ground up and be specifically tailored for your beacon buddy and all of those unique individual capabilities that make them wonderful, wonderful people. I am available to answer any questions for you, to hope this makes sense, and I'm excited to see you bring this to life and to be inspired by what we do for our buddies. Best wishes.